So, let's take a look at the strike zone. The strike zone is that area over home plate, the upper limit of which is a horizontal line at the midpoint between the top of the shoulders and the top of the uniform pants.
Top of the shoulders, top of the uniform pants, midpoint, that's the top of the strike zone.
Right. And the lower level is a line at the hollow beneath the kneecap.
Hollow, that is the low point of the strike zone.
The strike zone shall be determined from the batter's stance as the batter is prepared to swing at a pitched ball. The strike zone. What makes good pitching is three things: location, movement, and velocity. In that order. That's what Vinny would say.
Right.
Now location,
Right.
what is that? Location is where the pitcher lands the ball,
Right.
where he's trying to throw it.
He's trying to put the pitch in a location that's going to get a batter off balance.
Right.
If pitch him inside, outside, that kind of thing.
Too high, all that stuff.
Right, not
and
always
then,
down the middle.
so the second thing, that's the first thing. The second thing is
Movement.
movement.
Right.
Exactly. And so what is movement on the ball?
Well, a pitch doesn't just go straight into the glove.
No.
Certain pitches, the ball will move up or down or
Spin.
Wiggle around.
Right.
Or makes it hard to hit.
Exactly.
It's
And
gotta
then
move.
and then the third thing is velocity, which
Right.
is the speed.
So pitchers like Greg Maddux, who never had the velocity, had lots of location and movement.
What is stuff?
Stuff is pitches.
Exactly.
Right. And so all pitchers have a repertoire that they use, and the good pitchers are trying to keep hitters off balance.
That's right.
Because a balanced hitter is a dangerous hitter. And so we're going to talk about the most common, most popular used pitches, and Anadel's going to demonstrate.
Well, I'm not going to throw it at
She's
y'all.
not gonna throw.
Okay, I'll just show you how they
Show you how they look.
how they hold it. Here we go.
Let's start with the four-seam fastball. This is the most important pitch because everything else works off of it. It's got maximum velocity and should have the best command.
And once it's tossed, it's a predictable pitch. As it goes through the air, the wind has equal pressure on each of the four seams, which makes it consistent, and most pitchers use this pitch.
This is the two-seamer, a two-seam fastball, also known as the sinker. It's a good fastball and it does just that. It sinks, a very good pitch for inducing ground balls.
So as it's flying through the air pressure only hits two seams. So by the time it gets to the plate, it sinks.
The split finger fastball, strictly an out pitch, dives down hard at home plate, many times getting missed swings.
The reason they call it an out pitch is because you don't throw it all the time because of the unpredictability, but you throw it when you need an out.
The old changeup. It's slower than a fastball, but it is thrown with the same arm action. The arm speed is very important in getting maximum effectiveness. This pitch helps control bat speed.
Well, what happens is you think that I'm going to be throwing a fastball. That's what it looks like. My arm movement is the same, but instead of flicking it out with speed, I let it roll off my hands. So the speed changes, you get off balance.
The curveball. It's most often a strikeout pitch. It dives down when it gets to home plate, and many times the velocity is as effective as the movement because it's usually much slower than a fastball.
Well, the deal on the curveball is the idea is that my finger will flick this thing really, really hard. And the wind is going to hit it in such a way that it's going to curve down.
The slider. It's in between a fastball and a curveball. It's harder than a curveball, but less downward action. Many times you can see a small dot in the ball as it's coming towards you if you're batting.
And the deal is, if you know my curveball and you know my fastball, if I throw this in between one, I throw you off balance.
Knuckleball, a pitch that has very little or no spin. It's very difficult to control and catch. No one knows what it will do usually, which makes it also hard to hit, a very hard pitch to throw.
When it's going through the air, it has no spin, so the air builds up in front of it. When the air decides it wants to go somewhere, you don't know where it's going to go. Up, down, sideways. That's why it throws you off balance.
And finally, the forkball, thrown hard while held between the index and middle fingers at varying depths. Usually tumbles and drops violently, often diagonally, known as an out pitch, but can also be hard on the arm.
Well, it's spinning slowly through the air, so when the air finally breaks, the ball falls quickly.
The point of this is there are dozens of pitches and thousands of different ways to throw them. It's all about pitchers' stuff. They're trying to keep the hitters off balance using motion,
Velocity.
location.
And that is the stuff is made of.
It's great stuff.
Getting ready for the playoffs.
Why is somebody a number 3 starter or a number 4 starter versus the number 1 starter or the number 2 starter?
I don't know.
That's usually because the ace is the number 1 starter, so it's going to be the best pitcher, and it's sort of understood that the best is the first, and then they go down in, capability or whatever as you go down the rotation. I'm Adele.
And I'm Anadel.
There's something very special about the 1-0 game because the pitchers
Well, to
are
watch
so...
Kershaw pitch, it's very, efficient.
The games are faster, right?
Yeah.
Anything that's good goes by really fast.
Yes, I know. Generally, anyway.
Generally.
Like watching Kershaw pitch.
Absolutely.